Look at this old beast. This thing stopped working, unfortunately. It's 90 degrees the other day. Go to turn it on, nothing. So I get a guy out here. Whoop, get a guy out here. Tries to charge it. You know, put some Freon in there. Says no, it's no good. I'm like, okay, what's that mean? Well, I gotta get a condenser. You know, condenser, compressor, all this, right? This thing's old, so it takes this other kind of Freon is not even coated anymore. So he says all these pipes got to be changed. He says the electric box, which I don't know why, that electric box is fine, but that's got to be changed, you know, to a new unit. And hey boats, get back downstairs. You can't be out here. Let me go show you the basement. So this monstrosity over here is my furnace, and inside there's the A coil. He says that's got to be replaced. So I'm like, okay, well, this thing's pretty old, and it's a one of those burns. You can burn coal, wood. You know, there's a firebox there, or oil, which, you know, it's the most inefficient, you know, furnace ever, because the burner's here. You know, throws a flame that way, and it goes through this little tunnel into the firebox. I'd open it up, but it's dark as hell, and you can't see. And then the heating elements are up here, you know, and it goes up here and blows, you know, typical whatever. But this thing's like the size of a Volkswagen, right? So I'm like, well, this thing's pretty old. Can you give me a quote on that? Yeah, you know, so I'm like, do everything. Might as well. Got to do the A coil up here. You know, I'm figuring this thing's probably going to shit the bed any day now anyways. How much do you think it cost? Holy shit. Sticker shock. I'll show you how much it cost. This booger has the nerve to give me a quote. Whoop. $9,200. I'm like, what the hell am I buying here? So it's Thermopride, you know, or whatever. I don't care what brand it is. He's basically charging me $4,200 for a high boy furnace, 90,000 BTUs, with a Beckett burner, 4-speed direct drive, blah blah blah. I could care less what the, you know, brand is, but $4,200. Then the AC, which is the part I'm concerned with, because basically I can get the AC fixed and use this furnace still. Now I don't use the wood anymore because I got a pellet stove upstairs, so you know the oil part of it is kind of, you know, it's not efficient at all. So I wouldn't mind getting a new one, but look at that number. Isn't that a weird number? Even $5,000. Anyways, so as a do-it-yourselfer, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna call some people. So I don't know if I could do it myself or not, but I did call a friend that I go snowmobiling with. And he says he can get me the parts at cost, and so he's basically going to give me everything. It's not a Thermopride. He's going to get Yorks, and he's going to get everything for under $3,000, $2,700 plus tax. I'm like, well, that sounds more like it. So now, as a do-it-yourselfer, I'm going to try to take this son of a bitch out myself, and certainly get rid of this bastard. Cut it up. I don't care how it gets out of here. Junk it. I'll suspend all this, the plumbing and everything, and I could put the new guy underneath it, hire somebody to do the transition, you know, to whatever, and save my shelf a shitload of money. The coil, or the condenser outside, you know, I could put that in place, but, you know, to run all this new pipe, I guess you got to run new pipe because it's, I forget what he said, what kind of Freon it uses, but it's hard to get, or I don't know if it's hard to get, but it's expensive as hell because it's not what they use today. So this thing's pretty old, you know, and that thing's a humidifier. I don't even want that thing. I don't even use that thing, so I'm going to get rid of all this crap and just do it myself, because there's no way I'm going to pay $9,200 to send some kid through college. I don't know why it's so expensive when the parts cost. They're under $3,000 for the parts. And not only that, I'm not going to use oil anymore. I'm going to use natural gas because my water heater over there is natural gas. My stove is natural gas. It's already in the road. That way I don't have to worry about the guy coming over there to fill up, you know, the oil. So I'm about to destroy this thing and get it out of here and go to town. Again, I don't know how this is going to turn out, but I'm going to do it anyways. So, stay tuned. Alright, so down to the meat and potatoes of this booger. I've got it reduced in size to probably 8,000 pounds now. All that shit is solid metal. All the burner, wood box, wood stove. I'm going to remove that blower, probably keep the motor, just for whatever. Trash the blower, take some pulleys off maybe. So what I did here was I suspended the ductwork, yeah, before I started taking shit apart. Two little bracket there, some brackets, just basically put a piece of wood on both sides just as a runner across, you know, so I can catch, didn't have to worry about catching a stud. Just run this across and then hung it like that. So basically here's my scrap pile so far. Just a lot of crap, and because you know, I don't have to put this back together, it's just a matter of ripping it apart. You know, if something don't cooperate, yank on it. And these I don't know, it's nice gauge sheet metal. I should keep it just for whatever, you know, but I'll probably just trash it. So anyways, that's where I'm at right now. I got a bunch of crap. I'll probably clean this mess up, but first I want to get that blower out of there, take that motor off, and see how heavy this whole thing is. It looks like it's just sitting on the floor. I don't think it's mounted, so see if I can scooch it out here away from that, and then gotta go out. Well, I lighten the load. That's basically all steel, so it won't fit out the door with that pipe sticking out the back, so I'm gonna have to cut that off. That is all fire brick. Basically, except for 2 bricks, they were all cracked, and that's kind of how the way they come out of there. That'll lighten the load. That is probably going to keep that. Those are great for coal grates. They're pretty heavy duty cast iron. I'll probably put them in my outdoor fireplace. And that booger over there is the heat exchanger. That's pretty heavy. So that's going out the door next. So here's where I'm at with this. It's a 3.5 ton Yorks. Obviously it's not hooked up yet though. So get the book. Come on, buddy. So at least it's there. Come on, buddy. Then got this Yorks 100,000 BTU. I don't know, that thing up outside is a 14 seer if you want to know any numbers, but nothing's hooked up yet. In fact, I got to get rid of these old lines that are for the AC. They're no longer, I guess you can't mix them, so I'm gonna have to get rid of them. So obviously the transition here, that's gonna be, you know, have to be chopped, and of course this one is gonna have to be lowered to plug into you know, the new whatever. So I'll probably hire somebody to do that, I guess. I guess I could do it myself, but these guys do it all the time. It'll probably be cheaper for them to do it actually, because by the time I get well, making this transition lower here, you know, I could probably make that work, but doing that cold air return down to the ground, you know, I don't know, it's probably cheaper for me to hire it out. But that's where I'm at right now. Got this the A coil and the furnace and the condenser outside for $2,700. So the $9,200 quote so far, I'm way ahead of the game here. Of course it ain't hooked up, so there's that. Anyway, that's where I'm at right now. And what a pain in the ass getting this old fucking thing out. Jesus. Anyways, there's the furnace, new furnace, the A coil on top of it. So I'm gonna do this metal work myself, I guess, whatever. So I chopped this. This used to be the same length as here. This plenum went down here. Obviously, it's too big, so I chopped it there so far. But obviously, it's wider. This is only 20 inches. That's 24 inches. That sucks. So I'm going to have to piece that in. So I'm just going to, actually I'm going to take this plenum out of here because you know, it's just in the way right now. And I'm probably not going to, because the new intake is going to come off this side and go up, and I only really have two things to tie into, so I got to figure that out. But I'm going to get rid of this plenum. It's just in a way because I plan on attaching this here on the back side. So just one side is flush there, and then you know, as you can see, I got to piece everything together, but I'll probably slope this in like this just so it looks better. But I just slid it into there for now, and before I get ahead of myself. So that's where I'm at with that. So the first move I made was just boxing that bottom of that pan in there. I just got one piece, and then of course this piece here is still vacant, but I just made it with you know, just sheet metal tin. And to get what is it? Get these bends, you know, you can use a tool like this, little portable brake. So this is my next piece to go in here. So then I just taped up the ends here, just because I'm going to put something on the outside, obviously. So thinking something like this, right? I don't know what I'm looking at here. Yeah. See, in that way, the bottom will be secure, and of course I'll do the, I'll overlap this with a 3/4 inch overlap, box that whole piece in, cover all the holes, and that'll be airtight. Of course I'll finish it in that, you know, foil tape, and put some screws. I'm going to run an edge of aluminum around here too, just to make sure everything's sturdy. That's where I'm at right now. Alright, I'm almost done here. So basically all this is all filled in on the sides, outsides. That's the inside part, or underneath the inside part, you know, crimped over 90 degrees. So this last piece here, it's just ready to go. It's gonna go like so. Throw a couple screws in there, and then probably tape it up with the foil tape, just to make sure everything's sealed up. Almost done. Alright, well, furnace is in place. The one plenum is done. I didn't tape it up yet, but I got a roll of tape, so I might as well. So basically, I made it flush with this side, covered all the holes with some old, that other plenum that was here, the intake. I cut it in half, so you know, I had a bunch of scrap to work with. So I didn't really have to buy any metal, and I patched all these holes up. And like I said before, I put tape in. I'm going to go ahead and foil tape everything, even though these are double, you know, I've got bends both ways, doubled up, so there's no leaks anyways, you know, but I'm going to tape it up anyways. So that's the underneath. It was bigger than the furnace, and just basically went around and boxed everything back in, and that's that. So next thing is this guy here is part of can't really see it there, part of the intake there. So my plan is putting that square piece there, plugs into that, you know, goes this way, but I plan on filling that bottom in, you know, just pan that in, and so it's a complete box. And then my new filter, you know, mechanism there, you got to cut a hole in the side of the furnace there, have it come up and just plug into that. I don't know if you can see anything, it's dark in here, but so that's my next move. That one's going to be a little more challenging, but let me tape this up because I'm done with this. So that's a wrap. And you can get to the coil here, all this, you know, I had it so you know, you just take these screws off and this whole cabinet comes apart, so the A coil's in there, so if you need to get to it, as opposed to the other way, the old furnace, the A coil was inside the plenum. You'd have to take all this apart, and that's pretty much the reason I had to get a new furnace. Not had to, the furnace is fine. The A coil shit the bed, but I figure, well, I gotta take everything apart anyways, and it couldn't be the same. I think I pointed this out, the all those pipes there had to be changed because I was running whatever Freon is out of date, and the new stuff needed all new stuff put in, and so I'm like, well, hell, I'll just get a new furnace and do it that way, because my old furnace is very inefficient. So that's it for now. Let me go tape this up and start working on it. First move here, cut that side of the, you know, where the blower is. I don't know if you can see it in there, but and then I plan on building a box, just building a box here, you know, and then use a just a simple trunk to hook it up to that guy up there. I'll box that in, you know, figure out some dimensions, figure out where to put a filter. And that's what the plan is. Of course, you know how plans go. Anywho, so I got the first piece cut out. Let me build a little box there so I can do some vertical planning. Alright, so there's my box. Before I sheet metal everything up, this little guy underneath is just a support to hold it up off the floor. Probably going to have to add, it's like an inch or so above the cement floor. Just add, I don't know, something, maybe a rubber foot, because once I sheet metal all that up, oh, I'm actually waiting. I have to go get a filter, because I got to incorporate a filter somewhere, you know. So I kind of get the filter first, just to see, you know, how big, you know, 23 by 14, whatever, you know, box it in. You'll see. But before I do that, before I add the support on the bottom there, you know, because I got to go all the way up to this guy. Still got to box that all in. So that's right. So that's a little framework there for angle iron from that's repurposed ceiling tile border there, that angle, you know, where you go around the, well, whatever. Had that for years, so finally came into use. But so that's where the upshoot's going to go. Sit on top of that. So got some ideas here. So let me get going. So I just wanted to point out, when you're you know, doing you mark everything. I'm just making a little collar for the upshoot, but when you're this tool here works pretty good, but you know, it's short. So the problem I was having, not a problem, but when you start doing bends, you know, it starts creasing the metal if you get too quick with it. So the trick here with these little tools is just to go as slow as you can with the bend, but otherwise it creates these little ripples, which, you know, as far as I'm concerned, I don't care about the look, but I just thought I'd point out, if you want a good appearance, you know, when you start bending this stuff, just go really slow in increments. That way, you know, if you're going to bend this, after you make all your marks and bend shit, you know, like this one I can bend right away because it's got the whole thing. So I can make that bend no problem, right? But when it gets to, you know, something like this, I wouldn't even use a tool, I would just bend it over. But when it gets to, yeah, something like that. When it gets to the long runs here, like I said, just go slow, bending it. I don't know, this would take like maybe 3 or 4 passes, just a little bend, little bend, little bend, little bend, little bend, little bend, you know, and then come back, do it again, and then you'll have a good straight piece. Because I got pieces over there where I try to do it quick, and, you know, it creates a little crease, and you know, you can get it out, but, you know, like I said, I don't really care. I just want to point that out. Well, as you can see, I put a lot of angle iron in there. Number one, I have a lot of this that angle iron left over from years ago from a drop ceiling I took down, so it came in handy. It's steel, but it's thin enough to work with. So this collar I'm putting on here is, you know, just for my up trunk, so when I start it, you know, something like that, I'll just put some straight metal here to finish that off. And then maybe I'll show you make them little V-cuts like was in it, and so that up trunk can fit right on here, and use them, I don't know what you call them, those slide, you know, I think one's called a drive cleat. Forgot what the other one was called, but so I'll get this secured here, and I'll fill on those two pieces with some bends, and that'll be that. I'll have to build that box 14 by 20 upshoot. I wanted to use as much as this box I can, move as much as air as I can, so that's why I went that large. But let me finish piecing that in, show you what it looks like. So if you come across something where you need a bigger bend, like I need a 4-inch bend here, so you know, drew a line, how the heck's this gonna work? If you know, you can't bend it with this tool, obviously, and to do it by hand, good luck with that. So you have to get a little creative. Most homeowners don't own, you know, a bending brake, so like I said, you get a little creative and you can bend it. So if you got some scrap wood and a wood bench, you know, I gotta make a, what am I doing? Gotta make an up bend. Alright, next thing, line my line up. Should be good to go. Like I said, work it slow. Try to bend it all at once. Most of it. Now you can bend it by hand just to get the angle. Homemade bending brake, yeah? So like I said, it's not quite 90 degrees, but at this point I can, you know, use my hand and get it at a good 90. Because it's already got the curse. There you have it. I gotta make a bend this way with my bender there, because that's going to sit on the end of that. You'll see. Alright, so I'm done with this box. And she might be a little overkill because, like I said, I reinforced it with some steel angle there. And I just want to make sure when this, you know, trunk fits on there, it's going to support it. So it's all good. I'm going to make a few moves, but usually a filter goes in here, you know. I didn't want to put it in there, I didn't incorporate it in there just because the way this thing is, there's so much room in here, you know. I'm going to put it, you know, right in the slot right there. Right in here, just so, I need to move them wires, but should be up close to the blower. And fortunately this whole blower mechanism slides right out. You just undo two screws up here, wherever they are, and where the hell are they? Yeah, they're in there. Undo two set screws there, just this one on the other side, and that thing's on a drawer, just pulls right out. So I'll pull it out and put some angle in there so I can slide a filter in and out. That's correct size. So that's where I'm at with that. So basically this box is done. First HVAC box I built. Frankly, came out alright. Sturdy, supported every which way but loose. And well, honestly, two shits not given. I'll build it myself, right? So let's get to this trunk. Actually, I already built the trunk. There she blows. This trunk is basically pieced together by, because I went to Home Depot, show you this stuff over here. It just comes in pieces, halves, or corners, and you just seam them together. But the only thing they had was 8 by 12, and I wanted 16, just get, you know, fill that thing up as much as I can. So I basically took everything apart and cut everything up, flattened one piece here, and I built my own box. So, you know, I'll have to uncrimp this and flop it up so you can get your rail in there. But let me work on that next. So I want to slide that on top, and then the only thing left to do is pan that in. Once the trunk will go in, up there about 2 inches higher than the plenum there, so then I can piece everything and call this a day. You know, metal workers probably do this in a day. I've been working at this all weekend, but it is what it is. I mean, I also did this one too, so then I'm going to put insulation around it, just because this coil is insulated, you know, on the inside. I'll throw some insulation on the outside. So that one done. This one nearly done. Let me get to that. So I got these edges all bent up. Basically, you know, I just looked at an old one, but once these, you know, same here with this guy. 2 of them are straight up, and 2 of them are crimped over. So I basically just halved, you know, the long piece here. Put a little 45s in them. You know, I just basically followed an old pattern there, and then using this tool was basically, you know, the two ticks there, grab it there, start bending it there. That seemed to half everything. Then you flip it over, make a lip, so that way when that driving, well, you'll see. Oh, see if I can. All right, that's what I was talking about. So, you know, that's the lip I bent up. 1 lip, 2 lips, they meet, and then of course the edges here. The other edges that were straight, they go with this, I don't know, it's like a Z. You know, one edge fits into this, one edge fits into the bottom, right? So then you set it on there, and then these 2 line up, and you use something like this. I say something like this, exactly like this. Driving stick, whatever, it's just like a, you know, basically you start it, get one started. Top one, I don't know. That's a little bit closed. Try this. Probably should put gloves on because it's sharp. There we go. And that's it. And then that draws it in and closes the seal. I don't know, I think that stuff's pretty cool. Oh, I'm assuming if you need to bang it in. That's called a driving stake or whatever it's called. And that's it. Thing's sealed. And you bend these guys over. I mean, pretty simple stuff. Bend it over. Now I'm going to use my tool, so I don't want a perfect. Sometimes if you bend these, they'll go at an angle. So I'll get my little tool, bend it over, and go do the top side here, which hasn't. Whoop! I didn't mean to put that on the camera. Got to XL. Top needs to be done. This is a little different because the side over here. Oh, the side over here has the Z type flange. This is going to be the driving stake, but because this plenum was bigger to begin with, I'm going to have to box all this in, you know, some angle iron, some just sheet metal and stuff. So, but that's it. Basically, I'll go around and tighten everything up, and that is one box, one downspout there. I'm getting there, almost there. Alright, last piece of the puzzle here. I gotta fill this piece in, right? So, just cut out a L-shaped type tin. But I bent this, this was extended down, you know. I bent this up, right? I still gotta do this piece here. Gotta bend it up. and then when I do the L shape, you know, I'll overlap it this way, and also put a bend here to come down, so I'll have a place to screw it to this trunk, and I can screw it to this. So that's pretty much it. So I mean, this tool came in really handy as far as you know, bending shit. I like it. So like I said, you do have to go a little bit slow, but make my little marks here. Plus the tool has marks on it, so without this tool it'd be screwed. I'd have to end up using the old, you know, crescent wrench. Get as fat as a crescent wrench head as you can get, you know, and just do that, but it definitely wouldn't work as good as this. So basically just keep making my bends. This is the last bend I got here, and then I'll do that little, like I said, pan this in pretty good. That'll be that. Basically done with the ductwork. So once again, she's all airtight. I could tape it up like that, but I got some other plans. So here's this side. She's all good to go. I likes. So what I'm going to do is for this stuff, I got this insulation wrap. We'll insulate it as best we can. That'll be that. So ductwork is done. On to the next project, which is probably this vent tube. Run it up, I don't know, we'll find somewhere, exhaust vent. And because I'm going to run that, I'll probably run, you know, a air intake from outdoors as well. So I ended up running a combustion intake for fresh air. Of course, that's the exhaust pipe. I put it that high just because, you know, snow builds up here off the Bilco doors, and when I shove it off to get stuff, it does pile up pretty good. And it comes off the roof too. So I did have to put it up pretty high, but better safe than sorry. So and it's on a side, kind of a corner where no one can see it anyways, next to my vent pipe for the or chimney pipe, or whatever you want to call it, for the pellet stove. So that's that. And the reason I also did it, because if I you know, basically with the vent has to be at, you know, at least a 1/4 inch per foot as a slope, so condensation would roll back down towards the furnace, and then your little pump there would pump it out. So I put these, this is a vent tube that's all bent, looks like it's crooked, because it is, just because there's 30 feet of allowable maximum, you know, distance that you can use for a 2-inch pipe, and like a 90-degree elbow is equivalent to like 3 feet or something like that. So I wanted to kind of, and I had to miss all this duct work. So the vent pipe, the combustion pipe doesn't matter. I just ran it at, you know, whatever. Took a 90 and then ran it straight across level. And then went up here a little bit and level with the floor joist, you know, and it comes out and just ducts out that way. And this is the vent pipe. Try to make an easy sweep here with 345s, just to get this as straight as I can be, because the actual pipe length is about 22 feet plus my little bends. I'm still under 30 feet as far as, you know, what the chart says. So I'm basically at 30 feet, but that's fine. And that's why I put these little 22 bends in here instead of a 45, just because, I mean, that is equal to a 45, but it kind of straightens the pipe out a little more. So I'm sure it'll be fine. I don't really care. It's staying. So that's that. So I ran the vent pipe and a combustion outdoor intake, and now the next step would be to, I don't know, I could do a couple of things, but run some copper pipe. That's got to go to that back corner over there because the condenser's out there. Or I can wire it with electricity. I don't know what I'm going to do next. And I also got to run a gas pipe. My gas pipe out of this guy here. Probably just run it straight up and over. I don't know. I'll figure out how to get across this ductwork here. But that's where my gas line comes in from outdoors. Currently, I've only got the water heater on a natural gas line, so I'm just going to tee it right off of here. I mean, it does go that way because I used to have a stove for natural gas, but I don't know, the wife flex electric, so I can use this. I ain't worried about changing pipe size or nothing like that because the load is going to be just the 2 units, the furnace and the water heater, so that'll be fine. So I do have to go and run natural gas pipe and copper tubing, copper pipe for my Freon and electric. So got a few steps to go, but we're gonna get there before too long. All right, so today I think I'm gonna run some electric because I'm doing everything myself. Basically, I just took a couple of metal work boxes and welded them together, right? Little angle iron here, just so as a nice secure thing to go around this water pipe. But so today I'm going to do the electrical and hook this thing up with hopefully a couple of drain pipes, and then forgot what I was going to say, but let me get to the electrical first. But I got to figure out this mess here I got when I took it apart. That was like a cutoff. You know, you pull that pin. I think it's old school, I don't know. But I gotta figure out where I labeled everything, but I gotta figure out where shit went. So I'm gonna run some conduit that way, come down through the gap here and plug it into my new work box. Where is it? Down there? Yeah. So I'm up here trying to snake this wire towards me. Sorry about the music, it's upstairs, but oh, I think I caught it. I have to bring this shit this way. Fucking mile and a half. Alright, so I can grab that. That's a 24 volt wire that had to snake through to, you know, anyways, I'll show you in a minute. I gotta turn that music down. Trunk I was in, I just wanted to pull these wires through, so I'm gonna have to make a box there or something so I can run this. Those are the wires that go up to the thermostat, and they have to get, you know, eventually hooked up to this guy here, this little circuit board. But first I got to run the wire, the you know, the regular house current there. It looks like I bought 12 and 14. Wasn't sure what this was when I was at Home Depot. Kind of looks like a 12. Feels like a 12, but anyways, so I'm gonna use this contraption still. You know, just keep it there, and I'll run conduit pipe over here and plug into my new box, which is right there. Boom. All right, so I just finished up the furnace. So basically we've got low voltage here, high voltage here. I ran that up into the ceiling there. The low voltage is coming my way with, that goes up to the thermostat, just a little junction box. So that's that, and then way out there goes for the high voltage. And I was using this, I think I already pointed this out. I just kept that original one because everything was on this side of the furnace before, so I kept that emergency shut off there and put another switch in here just so, you know. And then of course once I hook on my condensation pump there, I have a place to plug into, and that's that. So now I gotta get outside and do I ran that condenser wire. It's here somewhere along there. So I just ran a new 24 volt low voltage wire just because the old one had some wire nuts where somebody broke it and, you know, whatever. where it was cut and pieced together, but it's probably acceptable, but the stuff's only 10 bucks, so ran a new line. So the high voltage going into the box there, you know, so I tapped into that, but there's also two low voltage wires, which I just drilled a hole through this plastic piece where the two plates meet up and ran the wires down. Instead of going outside the box the way it was, they went down, and then it doesn't matter. I just went through this little rubber piece because that's what they did with the original, you know, wiring harness to get downstairs here. So then wiring, the reason why there's so many wires on it, you really only need for the condenser just the C and the Y, and of course your R for heat and cool. But the reason there's so many wires there is because the original, let me zoom in a little bit, the original you know, my thermostat upstairs, this was a wood stove slash oil furnace, you know, blah blah blah. So I hooked it up the way it was, just because, you know, the wires were already there. It ain't gonna hurt none. The blue wire was just a remote for the digital thermometer, or yeah, thermostat rather. The thermostat has a remote, so I just decided to, you know, run a wire for that. That goes to C on the thermostat and the furnace there. But seriously, we never use the remote. I mean, how lazy can you be? So anyways, the green is for G, not for green, but for the fan. So I tested it out. Fan works. Of course, I can't test the heater, the AC yet, because nothing's hooked up. But so that's where I'm at. Did all my little low voltage wire connection. You don't need all these. You just need Y. I mean, I've got the W hooked up too. That's the third, the second wire, second terminal down, the white wire. That's for, again, I had a wood stove incorporated in this, and I just hooked it up because it is a heat, maybe it's a secondary deal, but it ain't gonna hurt none. So I hooked it up the way it was, because it worked before. But, and worst case scenario, I can unhook that. So all you need is the R, the G, and the C, and a Y. Because the Y and the C go to your condenser, which also the Y and C runs up to your, or wherever your thermostat is. And you need the R. You can either jump the R up there at the thermostat, but alright, so real quick, this the high voltage was already there. I put a new conduit line, but I also ran a low voltage conduit, just because when you buy this stuff, it's in 25 feet is the lowest I can find. I actually have more left over than I needed, so I put the low voltage in a conduit as well, just because, you know, who wants a wire exposed, you know, when you're trying to blow leaves or whatever. And, you know, I mean, even though they zip tie it to the line set, I just included the two and then did a little stainless zip tie deal. So you get the line set over, I mean the line set, the high voltage here coming up into, well, you can't really see it, but coming up into this contactor here, and then the taped up stuff is the low voltage stuff. I used, you know, just butt connectors. I mean, you can use wire nuts or whatever, but butt connectors, and I taped everything up. So now I'm going to put the face plate back on here, cover everything up. I liked it that this is higher, because even though that's exposed, there's nothing that covers that. The line set goes there, and you know, got to get the guy to plug it in here and weld everything up, braze everything up. But you know, I left him room, so he's not gonna, you know, the electrical's not gonna affect that. But I like the, when you put this faceplate, everything's covered there, and of course I you know, taped everything up. You know, mice get in there and they wreak havoc on everything, and that's one of the reasons why, because I'm doing it myself. I raised it up 6 inches, put it up on a pedestal here, block pedestal, just because the old machine, the old condenser, you know, it was on this, it took up a lot of the slab. It was just old school. What is that, R22 or whatever the old, you know, Freon was. It was a big unit, even though it was a 4-ton. This is a 3.5-ton unit. The other one's a 4-ton, but it took up a lot of space, and it basically sat on the platform, and just the mice would wreak havoc and trying to blow leaves. Like I said, the snow that falls off of here. So I put this booger up as high as I could. Well, not as high as I could, but as high enough. Plus, you got the Bilco doors. You know, it needs some air, but anyways, I did raise that, and hopefully no mice will be, you know, calling this their big ass condo. So here's what I did with the filter. First of all, if you want to buy a cold air return for $400, $500, it comes with you know, a filter box included, you know, somewhere in here. You don't have to worry about it. But because I made this, cost me less $100 to make this cold air return, I have to put a filter in somewhere, right? So I decided to put it inside, you know, I decided to put it inside this, you know, compartment here where the electronics are, because that's where it would be there anyways, but just on the other side of this wall. So I put it here, and this unit comes out, it slides right out if you need to get in there and build a proper one, you know, but I just did a temporary thing. Not a temporary thing, I'm going to keep it this way because it's going to work. I already tested it, and in fact I can turn it on right now. This little switch here, this little push pin, just to show you it works. So anyways, all I did was got a little pressure fitted piece of aluminum channel here, right? That's just going there because when the blower comes on, it has a lot of suction. And just built this, basically this little let me get a shot of that. Just a little square or rectangle bar there, and that little stop is, you know, rest up against here on the corner there, just so when the filter comes on. And this is one of those filter deals where, you know, it's one of those filters that you cut to size, right? You make your own. Just take it out of here. I gotta cut them little screws off. So basically it's one of these filters where you just cut off what you don't need, and it's only like a 5 rating. You know, you can get a better filter like that one over there. Either way you do it. I just like this because I can cut it exact size that I need, and that'll work fine. And you can see in there all the dust. That's where it's going to stay. So that's what I did for the filter box. I just wanted to show that right quick. Alright, so I had somebody come over and put this line set in, just because I thought it'd be better if a professional did it. I don't know how much he's going to charge me, and he just left. But so that's that. I mean, he didn't fill that hole with nothing. I'll get some shit there. So he says everything's all set, right? So here's how you ran it. It's okay, but yeah, it comes out of here. Just basically, you know, it's not really straight, and he curves it here. I guess you want this as straight as possible, but curved it there, did a 90, and go right in. So before I turn this thing on, I gotta add that condensation pump, and I just bent up a little box for it, so I'll bolt that on. I'll bolt this on the side of the, you know, something like this, and then that thing will screw onto this. Then make some pipe right quick, do a couple of teas, fire this bitch up because it is muggy as shit out. I want to get this done in a matter of minutes. So it does work. We turned it on and condensation came out like 3 minutes later out of that hole. He said, you're going to need that pump hooked up. Don't try a bucket or nothing because it'll fill up quick. So that's what I'm going to get to right now. And then at least the air conditioned part is done. And I'll have to, still debating on whether I'm going to run the gas line, hook it up over there, and get the furnace going. Of course I got a little time, it's only July, but... So that's that. So the only thing I didn't do so far is this refrigerant line. Like I said, because, you know, you're supposed to charge it with nitrogen, and, you know, the shit I'm reading about it, it's just like, well, I don't really want to go ahead and learn about all that. Let's just have somebody do it right quick. And he came over, took him the whole day, but they had to evacuate the, you know, vacuum the lines out after they put everything in, and took them all day, but it's done. They left, and now I got to get to that condensation pump. Okay, here's my final destination on my condensation pump. Now I just got to run some pipe. Sweating like a pig here. So that box is good. Everything's solid. Like I said, just run a pipe, 2 pipes, one off of there and one there. That's for the furnace. Oop. Come out sideways there, come out sideways there, have a vertical straight down, and that'll be that. Got a wicked glare. So in a moment of truth, I just clicked it on. It's 78 degrees in the house, and I just kicked it down to 66 for the command. So I heard everything kick on down there. Let's go take a peek. So it's 78 now. Again, there's a wicked glare. And I'm not going to go all the way down to 66, but I just got the command on hold right now. Let's go take a peek. I can hear everything running. Oh, it's already cold. Get out of here. So anyways, this is the drain pipe ended up looking like this with you know, the condensation pump there. I got it on my little bracket. Oop. My little bracket that I built. This just had to be below this. That's why it's so low. But so I got the furnace one coming in, which that ain't going to be doing any condensation right now. But you go up here to this T, and that booger should be working. So I had to hook up this clear line. You probably can't see that. Zoom in a little bit. That clear line there. It's got a snaked along the, you know, goes over here. Goes up, and I got it running all the way, well, you're not going to be able to see it, but way back in the corner there, there's a sewer pipe leading to my septic tank, so I got to empty into that. So I'm just waiting now to see if this house gets cool and if this pump works. That pump worked before. I didn't test it now, but probably should have. So I'm just waiting for this pump to fill, or this reservoir to fill up, and see if the water will make it up my little. Oh, here's some water. Well, in the meantime, while that's filling up, I just got to verify that the water's. I don't think there's any water in there yet. No, it's dry stuff. I got to verify that water goes up and out. So let's take a look out here. Obviously it is. You can hear it. Steam. Look at it. The camera's steaming up already. It's so freaking hot out here. So that pipe's pretty cold. I'm liking that. So now I'm just going to sit on my little stool, have me a drink or two, and wait for this condensation pump to kick on, so I'll be a little at ease. Then I'll check the temperature, see if I'm going to go anywhere from 78 to cool this house down. So it's a nice 70 degrees in here, and it's probably like 90 outside, so This thing's working great. Really comfortable in here. So my next move is I gotta run a gas line. I decided to do the gas line myself. I don't give a crap. So today, hopefully, I can get this gas line hooked up and pressurize it with air and see if there's any leaks. So I think the first order of business is shut the gas off. Yeah, probably be a good idea. Right? Wow, it's almost like I smell gas right here. It's weird. Anyway, shut that off and then I'll go inside and shut off all the, well, there's only one, the water heater, but shut them off. Inside, the only one I got here is, water heater. So shut it off. Now, I started this over here. I was gonna go this way, right? I got to here and I had to go to Home Depot get some more pipe. But I think I'm gonna start working on that. Let the gas pressure out some. There's a little elbow over there, and I might redo this. This is with the pipe dope. You know, these joints. I'm thinking I don't want to get all the way done with pipe dope and figure out there's leaks everywhere and gotta repair everything. So I'm going to use the gas tape just because I think it's a little bit better than pipe dope. I mean, this stuff will probably work, but I already bought the container, that Pro Dope over there, but at this point I didn't get very far. I'm going to take everything back apart and use the gas tape just because I feel more comfortable with that. That being said, I got the valve. I got everything to go. Home Depot sells different sections of so I got a 10-foot pipe. I got these 3-foot pipes. They actually, you know, everything foot, 2 foot, 3 foot. They also have a 30-inch pipe, 18-inch pipe, so you got a big selection. You know, and I bought a few unions and you know, couplers and little pipes and whatnot. So I think we got all the material. So let me get up there and see. I'm gonna, that pipe right there that runs behind this ductwork, I'm going to take that pipe off, run a piece 3 feet or whatever over to this trunk. I'm going to use this trunk here all the way over, straight shot, go above this sheetrock here and poke it right down through. So it's a pretty simple shot. So I think cut this pipe, started cutting it already, but I got 2 water pipes right above it, so I got to be careful. So I'm using a sawzall here with a dull blade. And I'm a little bit through it here, but I smell gas. I did let the gas pressure out, but we're already into the pipe. I just hope I don't cut these water pipes because this pretty much got to get done today or nobody's getting a shower, especially if I cut a water pipe. Oh man, you gotta love dull blades. So you can't really go above here because it kind of hits the, and not exactly, maybe not. Well, there you have it. Light them if you got them. Ow, that's a little warm. Alright, so now I'm going to try to twist these out of here so I'll have something to start with. Whew. I got to get some blades. Alright, so I took the pipe off there, just plugged it. It doesn't go anywhere now. It goes up to the stove, but the stove is electric. So I'll leave that pipe there because it runs through, runs through this finished office down here above the ceiling, so I'm not going to mess with that. And I took this couple of pieces I might be able to use. I don't know, it looks like that pipe was getting rusty for some reason. But anyways, so that's the pipe I took out. You know, if I had a machine to cut pipe, I could save a little money on reusing the old pipe, but because it's cut there, that pipe's useless to me. I mean, Home Depot probably thread that back piece there. I'm sure they would if I asked them. But so there you go. That's where I'm going to start. If you're wondering why I cut it instead of just unloosening it, because you can't. You have to start at one end or the other. And like I said, that goes all the way upstairs to the stove, and then of course this piece gotta, you know, goes to my water heater, and you gotta start somewhere. So cutting it this way, you can loosen it there at the elbow and the other side, because otherwise if you don't cut it, when you're trying to loosen one, obviously the other one's going to tighten, you know, reverse. So anyways, it's cut there. So now I'm going to start running a pipe, three foot pipe that way, do an elbow up to get up in here, do an elbow over, and start adding pipe like I said. So I'm disconnecting this gas meter because I want to do a pressure test on the gas meter. I don't have any 3/4 inch fittings or inch fittings or whatever, but this is a 1/2 inch fitting, and I do have a plug fitting that I could stuff on here, right? And that way I can pressurize my system and have it not go through the meter here, because I think this meter has some kind of backflow valve where it's not going to stop air, you know, it'll just pass right through it. Alright, so I got her up around 35 pounds of pressure there, and I decided to do it here. Just added a little my little thing there. Before I do this connection, I went to Home Depot and got that 10-inch thing, because I don't know if this valve, it does have a shut off on and off, but I don't know if it's going to actually, you know, prevent the air. So I'm going to test it here, because you know, that way I can test up all the way back to where I started. And then I'll bring it down here and test it again to test the valve and everything. But right now I got 35 pounds of pressure on there, and I don't hear anything hissing wise or whatever. But and it's maintaining. So let me get. So I'll just go. Might be a little noisy. The AC just kicked on, but so I've got got that air nipple there, and the compressor, it's been about 15 minutes, it didn't lose a pound of pressure, so now I'm going to go ahead and check once again for the bubbles. If I don't see any bubbles, which I don't expect to, you know, and this in here, with this off, it does hold. Does hold the pressure. So this is pretty noisy. There's no way I'm going to hear a hiss or anything, but I don't see any bubbles. I already checked up here. Alright folks, I got everything buttoned up. I tested again for gas leaks. I went outside and... What's up, Bodes? I went outside and put the gas on, turned the valve on for the water heater, turned the valve on for this fella here, and then I tested for gas leaks even inside the cabinet there with that solution there. And honestly, I don't think if there's no leaks with the 35 pounds of pressure. Oh, look at this old peanut. She's about 150 years old. What's up, gray face? Who are you talking to? So anyways, I'm gonna fire this even though air conditioning was just running a second ago. I kicked the air up. I thrown it up a few degrees, and I'm gonna go upstairs to the thermostat, turn it up, see if this puppy fires. I'll turn it off right away, because I gotta get one of those meters where you can measure the flow and get this thing tuned into where the efficiency. I don't know. I'm reading the manual. There's a number that. Well, anyways, I just want to see if this thing works. So the gas is on here. Boom. Right. I went through and tested everything. Nothing's leaking. I don't smell anything. It's always a good sign. So let's go see if we can get some heat going. Even though it's summertime, I just want to make sure this thing's alright before I call this video a wrap. So 63. It's it's 75 in here now. I don't know if that's going to come out on video. 75 in here now. I kicked the air off, so I've got it on heat. 63. Let's bump it up to. I just heard it click. 79. Let's go see if this thing comes on. Getting the heat coming. I can hear something. Oop, I hear a flame. And we're not dead yet. I hear a flame. You hear that flame? You hear that flame, Bodie? So I do hear a flame. I don't know if that window is supposed to show you any flame, but let me get back a little bit. Like I said, light them if you got them. Well, I just want to wait to see if this thing heats up and that blower turns on. Oh, there you have it, folks. Huh. Imagine that. I should go check the vent. See if that, well, it's got to be venting. I was just out here looking at some shit. Oh yeah, she's venting right out there. Oh yeah. That's the intake there. Oh yeah, you can feel that intake. Wow. Sucking pretty good. Huh. Whoop. Come on, boats. You can't be out here, it's too hot. I gotta shut this heat off, but so I think that's all I'm gonna do. Again, I think I'm gonna get that meter just to because every time you get somebody over here, it's $50 just for them to walk in the door, right? So I found one of the meters on Amazon that you can measure the flow or whatever. It's like 30 bucks, so I might get one of those just for shits and giggles. The valve in there's got an intake out. You know, I'm reading the manual. I think it'd be all right with that. I might show that. I don't know, but if I don't, I'm all done here. Took a while. Today was the last piece, the gas line, but now the heat's running. Ooh, I smell that new smell. Yeah, you smell that? Oh wow. Oh wow, that thing's hot already. No way. Alright, I gotta turn this heat off. Come on, boats. Yeah, that thing's hot already. That thing's kicking out major heat. Huh. Alright, I think that's gonna be a wrap. Oh, I gotta shut that door. Alright, folks, thanks for watching. This thing works great. I don't have no problems with it. Of course, it ain't winter yet, and you know, I don't see any problem. I did run it for a little bit, and it went upstairs blowing heat out, so there's that. So this is that manometer, or I don't know how you pronounce it. It's spelt manometer, but maybe it's pronounced mammometer or whatever. It was $30 for this thing, and it's got two little terminals up there, and comes with some hoses that you put on there. I guess one's positive, one's negative charge, or whatever. I'll figure it out. There's directions in here. But basically, this thing, this valve in here has a little set screw in there. You take out, plug a hose in. There's one over here too, I think. This one, I'm reading the manual. There's measurements you take to figure out, I guess, what the flow is, and then there's a chart of where it should be to get your best efficiency. But this little valve here is how you would adjust it if it's off. I mean, it currently works right now. You can leave it, but let's say it was running too low or too high, that number, it might not be as efficient as it could be. So I guess that's what we're going to do a little later when it comes time to heating season. I'll figure out where the flow is and adjust it, and that'll be that. So this is a wrap. I mean, that's a complete do-it-yourself installation of a HVAC unit, furnace, and A coil and whatnot. But I went from $9,200 to basically, I got that guy to come over and hook up these refrigerant lines. That was 680 bucks. So it took him all day, and it is what it is. I'm still, $4 grand is way different than 9,200. Yeah. So, anyways, that's my little project for the summer, for the month of July, anyways, and I'm pretty much done with this thing, and I'm gonna call this video a wrap. So there you have it. it's just one HVAC unit installed, well, the old one taken out, this one installed, good to go. So again, thanks for watching.